Hey everyone, Luke here, and yeah, as you can see, got a haircut this week. Now, this week it was actually a reason why I got this haircut is because on Saturday my sister is getting married. So congratulations to her. Yeah, going to the wedding and everything. So gotta get this review out of the way before all that happens. Got my suit ready, and maybe, just maybe next week you might see me. You might see a picture of me in my swagger. Just me. Won't be showing any of my family because obviously want to keep them private, separate from all this. But yeah. Almost ready, prepared, got everything sorted for the wedding. And since we're talking about a romance series, that's why I thought I'd bring it up, even though there's not much romance in the series right now. But yeah, getting on to the chapter itself. Yeah, so this little mini arc, like the childhood ends one, like obviously seems to be ending with this chapter because it's chapter 216 titled "The Student Council Succession Saga Part 2." They could have just titled it like the final chapter of this arc, but yeah, hey ho, what can you do? Like getting all these little mini arcs, not really one big serious arc. Haven't had one since the Phantom Blaze arc, which is kind of interesting that we've gone this long without having another serious arc, but who knows? Maybe that's actually coming. Maybe that's actually coming in the next few weeks. But yeah, so like I said, chapter 216, Student Council Saga, Succession Saga Part 2. So the chapter opens with a narration of saying the time has come for old Student Council to step down. Jekyll Floyd automatically appointed, but two other candidates step forward: Morihito and Kamasa. As we get like Kamasa's lineup, which is himself, Tadashi Kamasa. This is why I hate trying to pronounce names because my dyslexia gets in the way. Shizuka Makehiro, candidate for vice president. We have also Muga Atama, candidate for security, and Mob Hitake, candidate for accounting. So yeah, pretty interesting lineup here. Like no really out of the ordinary lineup here. And of course they're all making fun of Jekyll at this point. Of like, well, look who it is. Funny running into you here. Perfect. What say we play here a little. And this is where Jekyll's like, the petty rival vibes you are giving off right now are like really shooting through the roof. But yeah, they're like, the time for fun and games is over. We're going to be in the next student council. So how about you just back off before it all gets hurt? And Jekyll's response is like, I'm shocked you can say those petty rival lines with a straight face, like he's mocking them of just being like the most serious, being the most serious, like, oh, we're gonna take you down, but like the lines are just like so childish that it's unreal that they're thinking this straight about the lines. But yeah, so continuing on, the current president is saying like, oh yeah, by the way, so Otega, Morihito, and Kamasa have already chosen the core of the council. In that aspect, at least you're a step behind Jekyll. So yeah, these two are more in front of you because they got like their lineup, and yet you've only got yourself. So Jekyll, what are you gonna do? So as the current president announces this to Jekyll, he starts freaking out, thinking, whoa, wait a minute. I was pretty sure that I was gonna automatically become the next president, and when that happened, that I could choose my council afterwards. So does this mean that you aren't going to appoint me at all? And the president is just like, who knows, I'll save my decision for the end. And Jekyll's like, then what was the point of you hinting at it the entire time that I was going to be the next council? But like Jekyll, he said that in the last chapter that he wasn't going to give it to you just right away just because you want it. He wasn't going to do that. That's the whole point of this debate, Jekyll. Even they bring it up themselves, like the rival council. They're like, hey, you thought you were going to be the chosen one just because you're already on the council. And yeah, they're all just giving out the petty cliches. And Jekyll's like, you know what, you guys just go away. I'm having serious discussion here with the current president. And the president gives him an ultimatum, like, the debate will be held in 3 days. Take until then to choose the core of your council. The core of a good council requires at least 4 members, so you need the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the accountant. Find those people who you want to stand by you. It'll be easy for find 3 people who you want to stand beside you. It'll be easy for me to choose if I can see a whole group. Like if I have whole group line up, if they all bounce off each other perfectly, then yeah, I can consider them for the student council then. And everyone is in agreement here, like, oh, that's a good idea. But Jekyll's like a bit defensive about this, like, and thinking like, you want me to find these people in just 3 days to be part of the student council? But the president has complete faith in Jekyll. He's like, the crucial part is what kind of people they are. You learned at my elbow. You should know what to look for, which is basically like Jekyll needs to find people like he can actually trust. Like, hey, these are the people I want to work with, and I want to be part of my team to help run this school. They have to be people that I know personally, not just like random people off the street that I've never met before. Because if you do have random people like that and they don't bounce off you and you can't reel each other in, then it's gonna all completely crumble in the president's eyes. And that's what I feel like the president is getting at here to Jekyll. Like, you gotta find people you can trust in, who you can rely on, who you know personally. And yeah, even though Jekyll says it like, oh, right, sir, everyone's like, oh, do you really think you can beat the Kamasi And at this point, Jekyll is just had enough of them. Like, you guys are just giving out cliche after cliche after cliche. Do you even talk normally, like normal people? But yeah, Jekyll at this point is like going around the school. I'm thinking like, oh, that's said. Where in the world am I supposed to start looking? Should I pick should I put a flyer on the bulletin board? But no, I don't have time for that. And he already knows people that he can actually ask. He even it's not like he's a loner, like he just wants to be the president without having a team together. He knows like the people he can pick for his team, as we're going to find out in a minute. And as he's still thinking about what the president says, it's like he starts freaking out. He can't memorize every student here like he can. He basically has got to have a freakish memory for that. But he doesn't need to know every single person, like who would be fit, who could bounce off me, because we have Rabuka here, and he's like, oh yeah, you're already on the council with me. Like, we've already been part of the council. We already can work together. We already know each other. So you'd be a great first choice. But yeah, this is where Jekyll's just like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't going to be right, because the president was the one who actually picked her himself. If he picked her too, he'd look like a copycat. So good thing he caught himself in time. But no, even though the president picked her, you should pick her as well, because you can work so well together. It doesn't matter who picked. Even the president says, like, you don't have to be me, but at the same time, you can be inspired by me, and that means picking people that have already been on the council before, if you can trust them, and they work well together, Jekyll. But yeah, even then, Rabuka was like giving hints like, I'll be part of your team. You just have to ask me. Like, she was just sitting there, but like, well, looks like somebody's having trouble here, and she's just there, like, just being like, he really didn't get it. And yeah, Rabuka was like saying like, look, just pick me. I will be part of your council if you want me to. So Jekyll's next point, of course, is to go to Fran to get student information. Like, he obviously wants to memorise every single student in this school to be exactly like the president, even though he was trying not to be like the president because he wasn't hiring Rabuka. But at the same time, he wants to be like the president and memorise every single person's names. But yeah, Fran is like, oh yeah, I have the detailed list of information on every student in the school. And this is where Jekyll's like, wait, how do you even have that kind of list? And she explains like, oh, the robot's AI automatically searches out, compiles and files all the information it can on any person it sees. So Jekyll's like, oh my god, that is really amazing and scary at the same time, but still amazing. Still, that's exactly what I need. Can you search that list for students that meet this criteria, that have to be unique, have interest in the student council, and be able to help me win? Like, I don't know, who would be unique? Like, maybe a warlock that's become a witch recently, a literal robot in the form of Fran, and obviously the vampire. Like, he's obviously going to ask Mirio at some point to be part of his council, even though Mirio is part of Mojito's council. But but as we know, like, that's probably not going to fly. Even though I thought like it might actually fly, in the end. And I feel like Jekyll probably would have allowed them by the end of the chapter to join the council if they really wanted to. But yeah, Jekyll, as we'll soon see, sees right through Morita's plan. But yeah, Fran goes on and says, "Is this what I think it is?" And Jekyll confirms, like, yes, I'm recruiting members for my student council. And this is where Fran's like immediately like, what did Rabuku say? And Jekyll explains like, oh, I'd just be copying the presidents if I did. I have to show him that I'm my own president. And again, you have Fran there. You could ask Fran. Just ask Fran. But I digress. Fran agrees to send him the data later. And he's like, thanks, I owe you one, man. Friends are the best treasure I got. Like, you've said it right there. Fran is your friend. Ask her to be part of the council, Jekyll. Get it through that head of yours instead of just trying to not be like the president and trying to beat this petty rival gang. Even though now with what you're saying at the bottom of the panel on page 7, it's like you're being a petty rival. Even Fran brings this up. So we cut to the day of the debate as everyone is gathering around. We have Morihito's group. We have Kamasa's group, and the president is just there like, okay, everybody's here, great, we've got all the council members here, and with the amount of like weirdness that's happening from the Kamasa council group, Keigo's like answering the elephant in the room of like, why does the student council attract this many people and this kind of people? And don't you know what kind of series you're in, Keigo? So as they prepare to enter the room, Morihito says to Mirio, like, hey, Jekyll's already inside, but and Mirio's like, yeah, I heard he's found like the council that's perfect for him, the ones that he hopes will help him win. And Mori brings up the elephant in the room of like, hey, you're friends with this guy. Surely he would have asked you to join his student council. Why did he not choose you? I mean, I wouldn't have minded if you had gone down that route and actually helped him. Which, yeah, that begs the question: why didn't Jekyll ask him in the first place? Even the excuse that Murio gives here of Jekyll going to find his own unique council members entirely on his own, it's like, No, Mirio is perfect for your own unique council. I guess like they say it's like he didn't want to be tropey about this. He wanted to get something that was distinguished from the previous student council president of being like, yeah, I have tropes, and maybe Jekyll didn't want to have the tropes of just like, oh, we've got a vampire femboy, but the Kate goes on and says, how there any left between the current council and councilman's group? Hasn't every type of weird weirdo in the school been accounted for? No, it hasn't, Kate. No, it hasn't, Keiko. So while Murray reckons Jekyll has a plan, he says the student council is a gargoyle of tropey weirdos only because that's what the current president liked. If Jekyll chose people more logically, then even if they looked plain, they'd still be tough. They'd still be tough for the opponents. But no, he went with the tropey. Angle. The one thing that he said he would not do, he's ended up doing it. So with his group, we have himself. Obviously, we have an L not an L, a L/Neo lookalike. No, it's more L. It's more L. No, is it L or Neo? Like this guy is more like. No, it's definitely L. It's definitely meant to be L. It's definitely meant to be a parody of L. This the guy with the Rubik's Cube. We have a really fat, a really fat guy in like a tank top, and of course, and we have like the gothic tall woman. Like I assume this is meant to be like Lady Demetrice from Resident Evil Village. Like she certainly gives off that vibe of her. Like the only thing that's missing is the giant claws to come out. But yeah. Everyone is bamboozled, like, okay, what the heck is this? I'm lost, I'm shocked, the weirdo well in this place hasn't run dry. What is with this school? Like, why are they all tropey when you didn't want tropes, Jekyll? But Jekyll doesn't listen to this, and instead starts to introduce his student council, starting off with the L parody, quiz battles, puzzles and more. He uses his sharp intellect to tease apart any difficult question, but he's totally faking that aura. The mysterious and laid-back genius strategist QA. Seriously, that's the name they came up with? QA? Really? But yeah, I'm just gonna call him Q. Like QA, like really? QA? But yeah, they could have just gone with Q because then that would have fit with the L parody. No, they had to use two syllables. But yeah, Jekyll's not done. He's totally didn't finish that puzzle. He's just fiddled with it to look like he was. He's all showing nothing else. So yeah, even though he's a parody of L, I don't think he's as smart as L. As they're all saying, like, Jekyll, this guy, don't let him fool you. And next is his secretary, which is a ferocious eater who devours everything in sight. The brainless glutton. Dekaboo. What kind of name is that? Dekaboo. Like, the elephant in the room, like, how the hell is this guy cut out for the student council? I don't think he'd be able to fit in any of the seats. Like, it seems like Jekyll just randomly picked them out of hand, like, okay, you will do. Like, he got that desperate for it. But yeah, Jekyll continues on and says, and he's been nibbling on that one thing this whole time. If you're a ferocious child down, and everyone's there like, yeah, he's big, but he's not a glutton. So yeah, nothing really much to say on this guy. So yeah, Let's just move on to the gothic woman who's potentially, or should I say, not going to be Jekyll's accountant. She's mysterious and comes and goes as she pleases. Her whole identity is hidden behind a veil. It's hidden behind a veil. Some believe she may be rumoured to be the daughter of a wealthy European family. I can already tell she has Marie Anton. I cannot pronounce that last name. I've never been able to pronounce that last name. But yeah, Maria from English folklore and everything. So yeah, she's Madame Onryo, and everyone's just like, no, seriously. Who is she? Like, who is this person? Did Jekyll just go randomly on the street, just pick this one and be like, right, you're part of my student council? And the woman was like, okay. So despite everything, Morihito looks at this group and is like, okay, even though this is way too much, that all the exact kind of people the president would like, and Kamasa is like agreeing with this, like, could he actually lose? And this is where the president's like, okay, I've made my decision. The next person who will be the next candidate who I will choose for president is Tadashi Kamasa. So both Morihito and Jekyll lost, and we'll get the reasons why. Obviously, with Morihito, it's like the president saw right through his plan. So it wasn't Jekyll; it's the president saw right through his plan of like, oh, you're obviously doing this because you don't want Nico to be held back. Yeah, that's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly with me. You've obviously done this. Well, for selfless reasons, you've still done it without a true desire to be part of the student council, because yeah. The president was smart enough to think like, wait a minute, this guy's been saying, I won't be part of the student council, I won't be part of the student council, I won't be part of the student council, and then all of a sudden he wants to be part of the student council. So yeah, the president just saw right through that plan. It's like, nah, you're not going to do it because your heart's not in the right place here. But yeah, also they got an enormous tip from someone who overheard them, and when it come and he says, your dogs, I know it's for Nico's sake, but I'm not appointing anyone whose motivation is personal reasons. You could have just talked to us. We've prepared to help as much as we can for extra classes and makeup tests. Like, so yeah, they could have just gone easily up to the council and be like, hey, we've got a problem here with Nico and everything. Can you guys sort something out? And they've confirmed, like, yeah, we would have just done this. But with Jekyll, it's like, yeah, Jekyll, I know exactly the reason why I haven't considered you. It's clear you chose the people you did only in the hopes of gaining my favour. I was looking forward to meeting the people you chose for yourself from your own heart. Like, I basically told you to not copy me, and you have copied me. However, I'm partly at fault for pushing you into making a decision in so little time. It's unsurprising that you panicked and lost sight of your goal. For that, I apologise. I thought you had already decided who your core members would be, and that you'd already had true friends that you could trust from the heart. All that considered, Kamasa, given my error, would you mind me allowing Jekyll for the chance of a rematch? We would hold it in another few days. And Kamasa is like, despite his attitude, he is like, no, yeah, it was clear that this was completely one-sided. Like, he saw like how one-sided this all was, and it was like, yeah, it's not really fair. It's not really fair on them. It's not really fair on Jekyll. So yeah, I will do it. And besides, it's not like anything's going to change. He starts to dig up another roster in next to no time. But this where Jekyll's like has a theory going through his head of like, oh, true fact. Oh, that's what the president was getting at. He wasn't saying like, don't pick people because I picked them. Pick them because you trusted them. You can work well. You can work well with them. And this is where Jekyll finally gets the gist of it. Like, I do have true friends, best friends who are always there to help me. And this satisfies the president. And of course, the people he picks are basically the ones that you would have expected Jekyll to pick in the first place. Fran, Rabuko, and Muriel. They're all part of the new council as they're all getting everything ready, despite the fact that they have too many desks. They're going to recruit people later on, and that's where the chapter ends. So yeah, this whole saga was really good development for Jekyll, but Jekyll as a character is not really one of my favourite characters in the series. I don't know what it is about him. He just doesn't click with me as well as other characters have. But yeah, seeing him go through this development and learn, like, okay, you've got to trust in yourself. Like, you can take inspiration from me, but don't make it a carbon copy of me. That's what the president was trying to get to him this whole time, for him to actually be like, okay, this is my council, this is the way I'm gonna do things. And yeah, even though he does have tropes, it's still his unique tropes. It's not anything that's come before, and they're still relatively normal compared to everything else, compared to what the Student Council was before. This Student Council, while tropey, is very much normal in the sense, and I feel like that's what Jekyll finally got at here. Now the question is, like, with all this saga going on with the Student Council, like, where do we go from here? Not gonna debate that, not gonna speculate anything. It's just something that we're gonna have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.